Hello, everyone, and happy Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Day. Welcome to this episode of the Kim Jacobs Show. I have with me Janza Moore. How are you, Janza?
Hi, I'm good. How are you doing today?
I'm doing so great, and I'm so glad to have you here in the studio audience with me virtually. So, a virtual hug.
I know
I'm
it.
excited to have you. Listen, as you guys are coming into the studio today, go ahead and grab your virtual seats and tag your friends. Let us know where you're visiting in from, because again, people have been visiting from everywhere, the Philippines, all kind of places. And if you let me know, hey, I'm visiting from this location, I can give a quick shout out to you right here on today's show. So grab your virtual seats. Janza, this is an opportunity as well for you to share today's broadcast with your friends and your family members as well. But today is Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Day, and we just want to definitely honor him and his legacy and thank God for his leadership and his leadership regarding peace and unity. So I am so grateful today on behalf of the Kim Jacobs Show to be able to say happy Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Day. All right, so we are going to kick this show off and let's get ready to have a great time, Jan, some more.
All right.
Hi, I'm Kim Jacobs, the Balance Doctor. Thank you so much for tuning in to this episode of the Kim Jacobs Show. Be sure to subscribe to the Kim Jacobs Show right on YouTube. Turn on your notification bell to all so you never miss a beat. And guess what? Every time you watch, you're going to receive a real relevant and relatable guest that's going to share with you a piece of the puzzle on this journey called life that will help you be able to manage just a little bit smoother. At the end of the day, the Kim Jacobs Show goal is to be able to provide balance to the world, one household at a time.
Kim Jacobs Show. You're watching Kim Jacobs Show.
Yes, welcome to the Kim Jacobs Show. I can see you guys coming into the studio and so glad to have you today. I am super glad to have my guest, Janza Moore, with me, and I can't wait for you guys to hear her story. Her story is going to take us on a roller coaster ride today, y'all. So get prepared, buckle your seatbelts. You may scream when you're going down, but you're gonna come out on the other side, okay? But Janza Moore is the co-author of a book called Women Creating Impact, and she's a product of two high school students, which we're going to learn a lot more about today. So anybody that knows of people that would benefit from hearing this, maybe that had children when they were younger in their teenage years or so, please make sure you tag them right now, because every child is a blessing. Let's be clear about that too. So Janza Moore is a blessing here today on the Kim Jacobs Show. And I'm not going to read all of this because it goes deep into her family story. And I don't want me to tell it. I want her to tell that. But a newlywed and a blended family. So she's going to be talking a little bit about that today. Educator and basketball coach, motivator, and a product of two teenage parents. Welcome, Janza Moore.
Hi.
Janza, okay. Well, you can just start us where you want to start us on your own journey. Take us as far back as it would make sense for us to be able to be on this journey with you. And just keep in mind, Janza, that people that are watching today's show, these are people that are looking for a piece of the puzzle that may be missing in their lives. It may be something that they have a friend or family or loved one that they can share this broadcast with, and it can really make a difference in that person's journey called life as they're balancing this thing called life. So take it away.
All right. Well, first, I want to say thank you for having me here today. It's an honor to just be here and be able to share my story with you and the world, your viewers, and everybody who's watching. So I had the honor during last year, during the pandemic and everything, Dr. Betty Speaks gave me the opportunity to be involved in the project and be a co-author of Women Creating Impact, Not Perfect, Yet Still Priceless. And when at first beginning, I didn't know what I was going to talk about. Sometimes when you tell your story, you don't know where to begin. You don't know how it will turn out. So you have the nerves, the butterflies, and everything that goes along with that. So when sitting down and thinking about my story, it was just how I arrived at where I am today. And so a product of two high school kids. And it's so crazy because now I am an educator and I teach in high school. And I said, sometimes, God brings stuff back full circle and allows me to pour into high school students because I'm so grateful that people poured into my parents and more specifically into my mom while going through all of her different transitions and everything in high school.
Wow.
And so my first chapter in the book is, tragedy produces treasure. And so, I can just only imagine, being a high school student. The first chapter starts off as in, you can see a little girl. I wanted everybody to imagine a 16-year-old girl, because that was me, sitting in a health clinic. And so everybody is, in there, they may have been sexually active or doing, other things. And I'm sitting there and I'm kind of like, And they're like, well, who's in here is a virgin? And I raise my hand and a girl is like, I'm a virgin. And I'm sitting there and, I feel like, oh, yeah, I am. And it was so funny because the doctors and everybody was like, well, why are you here? And I was just like, my mom may have been in the same situation and it turned out differently for her. So she wanted to be an advocate and she wanted to be proactive about any situations. And as you said, she always calls me her little blessing. And that's her nickname and that's her name for me. And she's always, when she's encouraging, she's like, you're my blessing. And that's all I've ever known from her. But this kind of took me back into the perspective of where was she really at that moment? And, so I kind of just tell a little bit of her story too, of, the different emotions. As you said, I am a bonus mom, but I haven't experienced all of the changes and everything as a biological mother. And so just from talking to her and just realizing where she came from, kids were mean and she had those different changes and she, changes in her body, changes in her mental stability and changes in just, preparing for what was to come. So as a 16-year-old girl, she had all of those changes. And so also in the book, in my chapters, I talk about how from the male perspective, I didn't really know if he was changing. It maybe didn't seem real for him because he wasn't experiencing the changes in his body and he didn't have people looking at him any type of way. He just continued on as life. Wow. And, she got to prepare because she noticed and seen that the things were happening to her, but his was not, there until I had arrived. And so it just talks about the different things and knowing, sometimes you're in love. And I like to think they were in love and they created me, which is beautiful, but, they weren't prepared. Right. And so as she got prepared, I don't know, I can't speak for him, but like she had to get prepared as it went along. And so I just, for me, I want people to see that I am the product of two high school kids that fell in love with each other, but it doesn't have to hinder you. It didn't have to hinder my mom, and it really didn't hinder me. So I'm just happy to share the story and to shed light on anybody that may be going through it or seem discouraged or, and it doesn't have to be high school. Sometimes people aren't ready and you just, I just want people to know that your children, whatever you put in them is how they will actually turn out.
Right. That is a beautiful, beautiful story. Now, your mom and dad, being that they were young teenagers when they had you, did they go on? What happened at the next phase of their lives and their juncture? Did they end up getting married? What happened? Tell us.
Well, they didn't end up getting married. I think, you go through the should we be together? Should we not be together? They, from my knowledge, of course, I think there was talk of that when they were younger and they were so in love and they, of course, we want to be married. We want to be together forever, but things do not always turn out that way. So I think they were kind of off and on until I was around 2 or 3 years old. And then they just parted ways, still having a cordial relationship and, wanting the best for things for me, but they didn't end up working out.
Wow. But they ended
Yeah.
up still being great parents to you.
Well, yes, my mother was there all the time. And I will say, so that is another thing that I talk about in
Yeah, I know your story, but a little bit
oh
of it.
yeah,
I don't know you. I'm actually just meeting you today, but I know some of your
right.
story. But go
Yes. And you just tell me, whatever you want me to talk about, because I'll just
ahead. You know, this is good. You
talking.
flow on perfectly fine to share your story, and I can tell that it's already impacting people so positively, and so many comments are coming in. We have what we call a flash round too, Janza, so people
Okay.
will get a chance to ask you direct questions as well. I'm putting the link, everyone, right now, and if you want to come into today's broadcast, you're welcome to click on this link, and it will bring you right in, and you can actually speak with Janza directly. Okay. All right, so carry on. Tell us what happened with your dad.
So to me, I don't really know what happened. I think, I didn't have him growing up all through all stages of life. I believe he was there when I was born. I talk about also in my chapters that I have a memory of running after school and like racing to the car. And I said, that memory, I would love to think that I think it's him. Like I can't see the person and I never like know fully who it is, but I just feel, that was him and that was
Wow.
him picking me up from school and we were running or racing to the car. And that's like a childhood memory. I remember him being at my school. He did work as a custodian there for a while. And I remember coming out of class and just, being like, hey, or whatever, and him smiling big and just us having those moments. So
Yes.
those are things that I remember. I do remember like going to his house. I remember things that he did purchase for me and stuff like that. But the everyday memories of like, oh, I have a basketball game. How did it go? Or, oh, I had this. Those
Mhm.
are the things that I feel I missed growing up.
Wow.
So,
That's interesting that you say that, Janza, because I never know which part of a person's story I'm going to connect with personally
uh-huh.
until I hear it. And I do remember vividly growing up because I grew up in a household where my mom and dad were divorced at an early age when I was younger. And I
Okay.
remember vividly wanting to have those memories, and the ones that I would have in my dreams, I would be like, oh, that was my dad. I filled in the face as if it was my dad, no matter what, because very
Right.
positive dreams. I was like, that was my daddy. And then growing, and ultimately when I became a teenager, I remember going to, it was a local bar. I would see my dad. I would see him all the time, and I knew he frequented this one place. And I would go in every single day after school and go and sit at the bar and talk to my dad. And my mom didn't even know I talked to him every day like that, but I just went in and I did like almost like a motivational speech type of thing. I didn't
Yeah.
call it that then. I was just that, Dad, I believe in you. I love you. I just want you to know you could do anything through Christ and he loves you. And I mean, just all of that stuff that I used to do. And even though it break my heart because I would have to leave and go on, I was not able to stay there with him because my mom and dad were divorced. Ultimately, now he's a bishop, and he attributes part of his transformation to the days that I went to the bar. So you never
Wow.
know how, if those memories that God put in your heart were really
Mhm.
God's way of letting you have that connection with your dad.
Oh, right. That's amazing. And then you are able, you could say, I spoken to my dad.
Right,
And
right,
look
right.
at him now.
Well, I know that in your book you talk about ultimately what happened with your dad and later in life and in the relationship, if I'm not mistaken, that you maybe elaborate on that some more. What happened with your dad?
Okay, so as in my teenage years, we communicated. We maybe didn't talk all the time, check in here or there. And as I got older and was in college, we started to develop a different type of relationship. It was more of a mending relationship, more of a, coming together. And maybe you weren't here during these times, but now that I'm an adult, I can relax and realize, I'm okay.
Yeah.
That was something that happened to me. Those were the cards that I was dealt. But now, I'm okay. And talk to him, see his perspective, and maybe have more of a friendship and not a dad and daughter relationship, or not a,
Beautiful.
it's like a child and a father relationship. Now maybe see each other as friends.
That's
and so
good.
that started to develop. And I used to talk to him. I went to law school for a year, and he was my late night phone calls. And I would be like, oh my gosh, I want to quit. Or I'd be like, today was a rough day. Today was a hard day. Or I don't know if this is what I'm supposed to be doing, and all of those things. And he was up. And so it was like, it became a routine. And so like every day around like 11 or 11:30, I would call, or he would call, and we would check in. And, I'd be like, I'm about to go get my midnight snack, even though I don't need to. And, so I remember those things. And then, so the January, we were really close, and I came home and for Christmas break, and I did see him in January, and we continued to have those conversations. And that February, on February 7th, he passed away. And that was on a Friday. And the most beautiful thing that I have from that, of course, death is always hard, and people grieve differently. And I think from my story and my situation, it looked very different. So that week on Wednesday was the last day I had spoken to him, and we were talking. And, of course, you always say, love you, or love you, I'll talk to you later, or love you, bye, and all those things. But that day was different. That day it was like, I love you. And I was like, I love you too. And I remember sitting in the chair, and I remember hanging up the phone, and I was like, out of everything, like, he loves me. And then I was like, and I love him too. And it was so genuine, and so like, I felt at peace. And so the Thursday, I had a friend, and her dad were having problems, and they were arguing with each other. And I meant to call my dad on Thursday, and it just, and in my mind, I thought, well, I'll talk to him tomorrow. I'll talk to him, and let him know. And so the crazy part is, on Friday afternoon, we went, and we always had like an extra tutoring session. So that day for lunch, me and my friend, we walked across the street, and we went to Burger King. And we were sitting there, and I was talking to her, and I was like, things always happen for a reason. And I know that you and your dad may not see eye to eye right now. And I know that things may be iffy right now, but God works all things out. And I said, me and my dad did not have the best relationship. And I was going into detail, and I was just talking to her. And I said, but if anything was to ever happen at this moment in my life, I feel like we're good, and we're at peace, and we love each other, and we love each other. And that's, at the end of the day, that's all that matters. Here's the twist. While I was speaking that and confirming that we loved each other, he was actually in a car accident at the same exact time. And so I went back to class, and when I got out, I had all these calls, all these messages, everything. And I was like, what's going on? At first I was like, everybody calls me on Fridays, because this is when I talk to people. And then I was like, this is weird. Like, all of my friends are calling from back home, because I was in the and I was like, something's not right. So then when my mom called me, and her voice was shaking, and she was trying to stay calm, and she was crying, and she said, Jans, I have something to tell you. And immediately I said, who died? And she was like, Janza, calm down. And I was like, well, just tell me. And then when she told me, your dad. Now, grief came from me as peace immediately. And I was just like, oh, amen. Like, I just was so happy that we mended it before he died, that I knew that he loved me before he passed away. Like, I knew that in my heart. I knew that because I had just told someone. I had just talked about it. And so for me, my grief came at first as peace. I was like, we made it right. And I felt like that in God's eyes, I did my part, and that I made it right. Now, of course, later on down the line, I had my anger and upset and sadness and, oh my gosh, I can't talk to him, or I can't know more things about him. But just that part of it was a peaceful moment for me, because I knew in my heart, because I was able to speak it to someone else, that I was okay with our relationship.
Oh my gosh. Okay, this is I knew if I just kept saying that and telling you to talk about it a little bit more, I wanted you to be able to share this piece of your journey because the people that are watching, some people are going through grieving processes. I'm grieving my son's passing, and to hear you
Sorry to
say
hear that.
peace, just peace. It's such a beautiful way of looking at it that God just gives you ultimate peace and joy enough to understand that you were inspiring somebody else, encouraging somebody else right at that moment, and you had already built that newfound relationship with your dad that was a lasting impact on your life. Now it's going on you with you for the rest of your journey.
Yes, ma'am.
God be the glory. Okay, okay, okay. So we're going to talk a lot more when we come back right after this commercial break, but we're going to talk more with Janza about how this overall coming from teen parents even impacted your life as a whole. Tell us about that when we get back. And then what advice would you give to other young people that may be experiencing similar lives that you've actually lived? So those are just a couple of questions that we'll talk about. But let me go to some studio audience comments. You go, baby. Jordan Moore, who is that?
That's my husband.
Oh, Jordan trying to get some brownie points. I was wondering, I said, Jordan out here typing up a storm. Jordan like, I'm here, baby. I am here. You go, baby.
He's the number one supporter.
Oh, I'm so proud of you and all of your accomplishments. Now, Jordan is like, remember I said all of this right there. Let's see what else some other people said. Let's see. Janet says, you go, sis. You go. My mommy said, this is my mom. She says, good morning, beautiful ladies. Janza, tell your story. It is very interesting. Let's see. Okay, that's if y'all want to come into today's broadcast, you're welcome to do so. I'm so proud of my big sister. Kaylin said that.
Thank you, Kaylin.
Oh, CJ says, I love your strength. All right. This is exciting. The story and the journey and everything that you're sharing. Vanessa Bozeman said she really appreciates you doing that. And Andrea Belk said, wow, to your story. She said, oh my goodness, wow. Okay, y'all. Thank y'all so much for chiming in and sharing all of your comments. Today's episode is sponsored by RubyGButtercreme Sensations. Listen, if you have not tried RubyGButtercreme.com, RubyGButtercreme.com, you are missing out on a treat. They are one of today's episode sponsors, and I am so thrilled to be able to say that I personally have tried some of their treats. Their 7-Up cake, and I'll take you right quick. Let me see. I'll take you over to their screen to let you see how delectable and delicious this stuff looks. Okay, Ruby G's Buttercream. So RubyGButtercreme.com. They are a proud sponsor and a proud member of the Charlotte Mecklenburg Black Chamber of Commerce. And I'll just go right to this one picture alone. You have chocolate covered strawberries. You have 7-Up pound cake. They have these chocolate bomb things during the holidays that you can just drop into a warm cup of milk. You name it, Ruby G Buttercream has it. And then you can also learn more about what they did to start their journey as a family, and from their family to yours, how this whole thing transpired. So make sure you tell them that the Kim Jacobs Show did send you their way. Also, take a moment to learn how you can stay connected with the Kim Jacobs Show. Welcome back to this episode of the Kim Jacobs Show. We're talking with Janza Moore, and Janza is taking us on a journey about tragedy to treasure, her personal story in women creating impact. She's a contributing author in that book. How can people get a copy of your book, Janza?
They can just they can message me on Facebook and get a copy of it. I also have a Janza M. Moore Women Creating Impact page on Facebook with a link attached to that as well.
So okay, I think somebody probably type it backstage for me. So you can message Janza Moore on Facebook, and just inbox her and she'll get you a copy of her book if you're interested in being able to read her story as a contributing author. Women Creating Impact is the name of the book. And her story is about tragedy turning to treasure. So tell us, how did this whole life impact you as a whole?
I just think it gave me a go-getter spirit. Just it made me, so I talk a little bit about this in my book too. Like, I feel like my mom didn't give up on me. And so in life, I feel like I can never give up. I just feel she had a choice to whether, keep me, to give me away, or, to live with raising me as a child. And so I just feel like that instilled something in me to always pursue my dreams, to go after things, and to never give up. I always wanted to make her proud, and for her to know that her deciding to be a mother was never going to be in vain.
And what's your mom's name? And the thing, as we get ready to talk about your mom for a second too, so often growing up with a single mother, the mother, when we get this opportunity, we're talking on the show, we're talking a lot about your dad, but your mom was there all the time, right?
Yes.
She's like a superhero, right?
Yes.
So
real life superhero.
Tell us about your mom.
Yeah, so I will say this and tie this into something I use in my class as well. So when you said superhero, growing up, I'll never forget, I always used to ask her in middle school because she always made it work. So let me tell you a little bit about that. So in the book, I don't want to tell everything, but it'll all come together, but just little snippets. But in the book, I talk about how her being such a super mom, and how she went to school. She wanted to change schools, and my grandmother was, you're going to be strong, and you're going to say, and you're going to go to that school, and you're going to be okay. And so she worked while she was in school. So she worked at Hardee's. So my grandma helped, a lot. But my mom was determined that I'm her mother. So she got up before she went to school. She would give me a bath. She would sing to me. She would do all those little things. She would go to school. In between going to school, she would come back home, check on me, and then she would go to work at Hardee's, and then she would be back and just in time, to put me to bed. And so she really became an adult and took her responsibility serious and wanted to be an all-time mom, like in my life all the time. Because she could have just let my grandmother, do it. But she said, this is my child. This is my blessing. And she decided, to do what needed to be done. And so I always remember that. I remember her going to school, and I remember staying at my grandmother's, but I remember she went to work, she went to school, and then she came back. We had dinner. She put me to bed, but she wanted to push through and to show me that no matter what, you can still be successful. You can still go after things. And it's all about your mindset and what you want. And I love telling students sometimes, so being in class, as a child, you don't always understand what the parent's point of view is. Right. And so I'm always like the liaison. I'm always in the middle, and I'm like, well, what about if your mom did this? Or what about if your dad did this? And so this was one thing that stood out to me. I played middle school, in basketball, there's always the girls first, and then the boys play after her. And so it was one particular day, I just wanted her to be in the stands with me to watch the boys' game. Mm-hmm. And I was like, why don't you ever stay? Why don't you ever stay to watch the boys' game? And so as a kid, I'm always like, why didn't she stay with me? But as I got older, I learned she didn't stay because instead of taking a lunch break, she got off of work to come see me play, and she went back to work to finish her shift. And so to me, it was like, oh my gosh, Mom, I can't believe that you did all of that. But she wasn't going to miss a game. She knew that she was the parent that was going to be there. And she did whatever it took to make it happen.
I love your mommy. What's her name?
Yeah. Her name is Courtney Walker.
Oh, Miss Courtney Walker, I love you. And I'm so glad that you chose to allow Janza to come to this earth and you're a great mommy. So I'm so grateful to meet
I
you
love
virtually.
you. Yes.
That's awesome. Awesome. Okay, so if you had to go back and change any aspect of your past, how you were raised, growing up, what would you do? What would the change be?
Okay. The answer to that question is nothing.
I knew it would be nothing. I knew it would be nothing. I knew it would be
Nothing.
nothing. Absolutely nothing.
I always thought, and I always, you think about what family is and what it means. And, I had this different thought in my head of what things should turn out. And, sometimes as a kid, for me, I grew up in a single mom. So I always thought about what it would be like to have both parents.
That's right.
And sometimes now as an adult, I'm looking back, sometimes having both parents isn't better than having one because you may be lacking something in the household with somebody. And I feel like that's even worse, to have people present, but not present, not there. Right. And so for me,
that's ridiculous.
yes. And so for me, I wouldn't change a thing, because now I see what my life is going to be like. I see how strong I am. I see how, before being married, and even sometime now, I have my own independence, and I know how to be a go-getter. I know how to, that's all I can say. Be a go-getter. I know how to go after things that I want, and I don't hear no. Sometimes when you fall down, you just, you could give up. I just see how I could do it differently. Like what else is going to come afterwards? And it's just like that type of mentality. I think growing up, I always wanted, and I felt like, and I'm probably going off script, and I'm sorry.
Oh, we don't have a script. So
we don't have a script, but I know you had some questions.
This is good. This is good.
I always felt like proving something. Like, maybe if I did this, he would have been around. Or maybe if I did that, or I'm involved in so much things, or where is he, what is it? And it was like, I'm learning now that it didn't matter. That was your story. Those were the cards that you were dealt. That is how your life was designed to be. And it's okay. And so now I'm realizing you do things and you accomplish it for yourself. Accomplish it because you want to be great. Accomplish it because you have a story to tell somebody. And while writing my chapters in Women Creating Impact, it was very healing for me, because I never really wrote down everything that I experienced, or I guess I never thought how impactful it really could be. But as being a teacher, and I like to say I mentor different people who come in my life, I'm always trying to leave them with something inspiring and motivation of, you can do it no matter what your situation looks like. Because to me, it was tragedy. It was my tragedy. But now I'm saying it produced a treasure for me. So.
Yes, and I can't believe how similar our childhood stories were, and I connect so well with you, because I used to always feel the same way. Every pageant, everything that I did, I was like, hello, I'm an honor roll student. I'm the senior class president. I'm the da, 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 da. And I was like, don't you care? Don't you want to be over here? But guess what? He did care. He did care a whole lot. My dad. Yes. It was stuff that he was going through at that phase of his life that he had to also try to get himself together. So when you get older and you recognize and you can look hindsight, then you can get more clarity and understanding and compassion, versus when we're going through it as children. We're like, I don't know what your problem is. Don't you see you got a great daughter over here or whatever? That's kind of childhood thoughts, right?
Yes.
So, Janza, what advice would you give your younger self now that you are going and seeing back in the day what happened?
I would tell myself he didn't understand.
Oh, wow.
I would tell myself, he was young. And of course, we can say that. I'm not trying to give him a pass, because my mom was young too. But I'll say he didn't understand. He, knowing more about his story, he didn't have his father in his life as well. And so he didn't understand. He didn't know what it meant. He didn't know that the first things and my first love was supposed to be him. So to me, I feel like, God blesses you with a family and you have the woman who is the nurturing and the caring and the, all of those sweet things. And that's that representation of God. And the man is the protector and the provider and the, also a caregiver. And that's that side of God. And I think, I would tell myself, he doesn't understand that that's his side. He didn't understand that I needed him to be the one to open the door for me first and to tell me that he loved me. He didn't understand that he needed to be the one to take me on a date and to show me the little things. And so I would just tell myself, he didn't understand. And there is nothing wrong with you. It's not nothing wrong with you. I used to feel like, choose me, pick me. Why not, why not me? And even, when I got married and my husband, I was like, from the moment you laid eyes on me, you chose me. And that meant something so much deeper than just, I'm going to be his wife. It was like, no, this is what I longed for my whole life. This is what I wanted a man to do for me my whole life and to tell me that I was worth it. Right. And so if I could go back 10, 20, almost 30, I'm not 30 yet, but those years ago, and just to say like, you are worth it. You are the daughter of a king and, know whose you are and it's okay. And you're going to make it. Because I think as a child, you feel like, used to look around and see other people with their dads or all this different stuff. And I'd be like, oh gosh, what will life look like for me? And life is beautiful. I feel like, and even then he's here with me. And I always thought I missed out on, to me, I seen the bad side or the one not coming around, the dad not calling growing up. But I seen the pleasant side of it. And I like to think that in my husband, I see the good of a dad. They say the woman always goes after her father. And so I like to say that that's the good part. That's him sending me what maybe I didn't have all my life. So
I'm just, oh my gosh, I'm just overwhelmed to say the least. I'm so grateful to hear the way that you so eloquently put that, because he didn't know. And now he's in heaven and he's gone on with his journey, and he's now one of your cloud of witnesses to hear you share on behalf of him. Even though he's passed away, you're still cherishing and honoring the relationship that God allowed you guys to have. I'm so grateful to hear you say this today, and I'm blessed by it. Okay, so many studio audience members have commented. My brother Javon Jackson says, very courageous for you to share your story, Janza. Vanessa said, you are an encourager. Yes. Abigail said, I'm so happy for you, so happy. I hope I'm saying it the way that you guys are typing it. I believe I am. I'm like, oh, you have such a beautiful soul, Jasmine says. By all means, you guys can come on. I shared the link and you can share it yourself too. Courtney Jacobs, my brother, says, wonderful story and things moms do for their babies. Something that men can always learn from. Praying for you. And then, of course, your husband is in here again. He said, Mama Courtney is the best. Yes. You did such a great job, Courtney. I love you so much and I miss you, Astrid said. Wow. Super mom. Your mom is a super mom and was in your younger years. Beautiful sentiment to mom. Give her flowers while they're still here on this earth. Awesome comments, guys. They're coming in. Oh, my mom. Oh, Lord. Now, my mom. Whoa, my mom typed this. Jordan, he gonna keep on typing. He ain't playing. Jordan, you might as well come on the screen or come on that room back there, wherever you are. Thank you. Thank you, sweetheart. Love you. Oh gosh, get a room, Jordan. Get a room. I love it. Courtney, my brother, says, I call that legacy. Yes. And my mom, which she is in her 60s, she does not type this much, right? She almost
Right.
70. She's 69. She'd be like, all of this typing right here took a lot for her. So let me read every word she said. My hat's off to your mom. I understand running from work to different events, then back to work to make up the lost work hours. I used to tell my children that they're going to kill me running and doing so much, but it keep me young. Praise God, I'm still here. Yes. I praise God for that, mommy, for sure. Yes, I know it took a lot for you to type all of that. All right, everybody, listen, as we are talking today to Jan Zamora, let me also let you guys know that tomorrow we're going to have our legal segment with attorney Kenneth D. Snow. And tomorrow I have a guest that's going to be on. His name is Joseph Wooten, and I'll be showing you his picture as well as what we'll be discussing. But during the broadcast, we're going to have a legal moment with attorney Kenneth D. Snow, and he's going to be talking about what crimes can the U.S. Capitol rioters be charged with, as well as does a Twitter ban violate the First Amendment rights. So during our brief legal segment tomorrow, during our regularly scheduled programming, you're going to hear from attorney Kenneth D. Snow. Let me also let you know that he's one of today's episode sponsors, and I'm going to introduce him to you now.
I'm attorney Kenneth D. Snow, and at the Snow Legal Group, justice is our job.
For more than 20 years, Attorney Snow has been fighting for justice and winning cases in the Carolinas by providing aggressive representation in criminal defense, domestic violence, family law, serious injury, and wrongful death. If you've been injured or lost a loved one in an accident, including tractor trailer or rideshare, you need the Snow Legal Group by your side, fighting for justice and fighting for you. Visit snowlegal.com. Call 704-358-0026 for a free virtual consultation. Located at 6827 Fairview Road, Suite D in South Park.
All right, welcome back to this episode of the Kim Jacobs Show. I have in the studio with me Jan Zamora, who is a beautiful example of someone that's experienced tragedy and has now turned it to treasure. And today, Janza, I want to also get the opportunity to learn about your existing beautiful family. You're newlywed. You have a blended family. We've talked about like things that would be full episodes all in 1 hour. So like blended family is its own show.
Yes, ma'am.
It's its own show. Tragedy is its own show. And here you are talking about all of this in 1 hour. So let's go ahead and talk about your newfound family. I know Jordan is a mighty happy man. So talk about Jordan and the crew.
Oh yes, so it's Jordan and his mini-me. It's like twins when you see them. But it is beautiful. I say before meeting him, you know, you have the wrong people that you date, or they just make you stronger for when you get to your match. But I had a prayer, and my prayer was, you know, one day, God, I do want a family. I want a man that loves me, and I want him to want children, and for us to have a family. And for me, I think God had to show me. You know, of course, you have faith in all those things, but I think for me, it was him showing me what a dad looked like, because I did not have that growing up. And so meeting Jordan and knowing and having Elijah has been a beautiful experience. I get to see, you know, what type of man he is, how he interacts with him, how he teaches him, how he loves him, how he comforts him, how he's a protector for him. And so to me, it was like, woo, at least I know that, you know, he's that for Elijah, and he'll be that for me, and he'll be that for any that come in the future as well. And so it has been beautiful. It has its challenges. It's different. You know, Elijah, he isn't with us full time. He comes over the summer. We have him every other weekend, every chance that we get. And, you know, I want to give him everything that I didn't have, and just let him know that he's loved, he's supported, that I don't see him as just my bonus. He's mine. And sometimes I get I'm like, whoo, I'm a mama, or I'm a, mama bear. And so it's learning different things. I went from being a single independent woman to married with a child. And so it's different, but it's exciting. No day is the same, and I'm enjoying it. I'm growing a lot as a person. And it's been an amazing journey.
Wow, that's amazing. And the things that I think I'm hearing you say that I'm taking away from what you said is actually something that I had some celebrity guests on my show before, Pat and Emmitt Smith. And Emmitt Smith is an NFL all-time leading rusher and everything. And they said the same thing that you're saying. They have a blended family, and they were saying the same exact thing, that there's no step. And if you ever missed that video, you can go back and watch it on my YouTube channel. But they agree. There are no step in the words. It's Mama Pat or Daddy Emmett or whatever, but no step. So in your case, it's Mama Janza or Daddy Jordan. So there's no step. And I love how you're embracing that concept at such an early age, because you're a young lady. So you don't have to be. You could easily be like, that's you.
Right.
People like that. But
right.
Instead, you're embracing Elijah, is what his name is, right?
Yes.
I love it.
And I know from my story, I kind of felt that way a little bit growing up. My dad, he did marry, and not that, we didn't have the best relationship. And I always thought that if there was a woman on the other side that was pushing for certain things, would it have been different?
You better believe it would.
Yes.
Yes. A woman makes a huge difference.
Yes, ma'am. And so for me, that's how I am. I just imagine, I want him to see his TV shows, and he sees the mom and dad, and he sees the mom and dad when he comes here. I want him to know, like, oh, okay, we're on the same page. This is what a team looks like. These are all the things that, I want to create for him, so that there's no misunderstandings for him, so that he can have the picture that, he sees.
I love it.
And more ultimately, the picture that God designed for it to be. And so
that's the bottom line.
That's the main thing.
And so in the future, you're planning to have some additional children that's going to be in that household, or what? What's the plan?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Jordan is, he's let's have a whole football team. And I'm like, we can have,
I see Jordan over here on these comments, and I know he is fired up. He's like, baby over here, baby over here, baby over here.
Right.
He is ready.
So when God blesses us, we'll, open arms and ready to take on the new challenge.
Right. Now, what does Jordan mean by "we love you always, you are the best"? Oh, he's talking about
him and Elijah.
Elijah, love you. Why did I think they were talking about me? I was like, oh, I love you too. We're like, girl, bye. We ain't talking about you we don't barely even know you. We just met you today. We talking about our baby over there, Janza Moore. I thought y'all were talking about, as a family, y'all love the Kim Jacobs show. I was like, oh, I love you too. I don't got it all twisted. Okay. Well, anyway, Jordan, yes, you and Elijah, you love Janza, and she can tell that. It pours through your pores, even in your typing. You can come on the screen and say something too. Thank you for this inspiration, Astra said. And my mom said, yes, it took her forever to type all of those comments. Let's see. Anybody else say anything? Oh, Jordan put it out there. He said maybe 4 more.
Backspace.
LOL. Laugh out loud. I have actually, it's interesting. You said 4 more and spelled it out with your last name. I have a young lady that used to work with me in the church, and her and her husband, I've invited them to come on the show too. And they were told that they would never have children. Wow. They would never have children. They have twins. And when they come on the show, I'll let them share the rest of their story. But they always talk about 4 more and spell it the same way. And so that's interesting, because there's another couple out there that shares your sentiments. Keep it going. Keep it going. Let's see. We do love the show. Jordan, it's not the same. I don't feel the same love. I don't feel the same love through that. Jordan, I don't think you love the show as much as you love Janza Moore. I appreciate you. More is better. Yes, more, Moore. Janza Moore and Jordan Moore and Elijah Moore and more is better. I agree with you, Jordan. Spread the love, spread the Lord, salt the earth, right? All right, all right. So let me take a moment here and let's honor Dr. Martin Luther King today. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. did a speech the night before he passed away, and I would like for us to take a moment to hear that speech. That footage was provided courtesy of the Smithsonian Channel. It's public information, and I want to thank the Smithsonian Channel for providing that footage to the public so that we could be able to hear that final speech of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. And so, Janza, any final thoughts, things that you want people to know, that you know how you're on a show and you're like, dog, I missed saying this one thing and I should have said it. And you know Jordan gonna tell you later, so you might as well come up with it. Think about it. What do you want to say?
I would just say, no matter what happens in your life, you can change the story. Like, it was supposed, worldly, I probably shouldn't be on the show. I probably, if a different decision, I wouldn't be here. I would just say that through God, all things really are possible. And to don't give up hope on yourself. Don't give up hope on others. And sometimes go back and see the root issue or the root reason why things happen or may have happened. I don't know everything that my dad thought about as a teenage boy. He probably just was wanting to have fun and didn't know the true consequence and true outcome of what could happen. But don't let any of those things hinder you. I had a mom who did whatever it takes, and that is shown. So whatever you actually show your kids and you show others, okay, they can take and learn something for you. So if I could tell anybody something, is to be the example that you want to see.
That's all. That's all. And you are doing just that, Miss Janza Moore. You're being the example that you want Elijah, Jordan, all of the viewers here on the Kim Jacobs Show to see. So thank you so much for doing that. And I see that you tuned in from Germany, Astrid. Thank you so much. And please let everybody else know about the Kim Jacobs Show. You can subscribe by going to our YouTube channel, and I will put that up here as well for you. So everybody, after the episode, make sure you just click on this link and be sure to take a moment to subscribe on my YouTube channel. I have thousands of people that have I have like 8 different platforms. So it's about 20,000 viewers across the 8 platforms. But I really would love for you guys to subscribe right on my YouTube channel, because I'm trying to get that to a certain level. And if you do, I really would appreciate it. Cut those notification bells on and say that every time we go live, you'll get an alert. Also, let me let you guys know that we have a great lineup of shows scheduled for you guys over the next, for the rest of the year. Let's just say it that way, okay? But tomorrow, my guest is going to be Joseph Wooten from the Wooten Brothers Band, the Brothers of the Wooten. I mean, they do their thing nationwide. They're a world-renowned band. And he's going to be talking about music respect and why it matters, okay? Joseph A. Wooten, he has Hands of Soul. That's what he's known for, Hands of Soul. He'll be on tomorrow. On Thursday, I have Miss Dee Dixon. If any of you are in the Charlotte or surrounding areas, Dee Dixon is the owner of Pride Communications. Pride Magazine, many of us know about that. It's African-American publication that is specifically designated for African-American community. She's going to be our guest here on the Kim Jacobs Show coming up on the 20th. Is that Thursday? I can't see the bottom of it. Anyway, Thursday, I know she's going to be our guest. And then I have this creative thing coming up. That's going to be pretty fun. It's to interview the interviewer. I'm going to be interviewing Lotus Richey from Lotus Ignites, where news you can use. And then she's going to be interviewing me. I'm going to be interviewing her. And it's going to be a trip on that day, because on that day, I start out interviewing her that morning. No, I interviewed her that evening at 7 o'clock p.m. on January 27th. And she's going to be the host of the Kim Jacobs show that day, interviewing me. So it's going to be pretty cool. Interview the interviewer segment. I can't wait. And I am biased, everybody. Right before I even put this flyer up, you'll probably be like, well, she never puts flyers up like almost a week and some change in advance. But yes, today I am. Guess who I'm putting up? A rising star. Yeah. That's my son, y'all. That right there. That boy right there. That's Jeremiah Jackson Jacobs. That's Jeremiah Jackson Jacobs. And he's going to be right here on the Kim Jacobs show. Yes, you hear my motivation level going up because I have 5 children and he is one of them. And he is truly a rising star. I can't wait for you guys to meet him. Now, I try to get all of my children to come on my show, right? And they all, nah, Mom, we good. We're not going to do that. Wait, let me get this business finalized and whatever. They're forever putting me on hold. But Jeremiah Jacobs, he breaking out. He's like, Mom, whatever you need, I got you. I love it. So my child will be on the show. And as I'm talking about my children, I would like to also just let you know that yesterday we celebrated in honor of my 12-year-old. He's 12 to me forever. All of you see I wear this pin every day. And our son transitioned home to be with the Lord. And I'm not going to get too far south because I'll be like way back in the chair, flipped upside down type of thing. But the thing is, like you say, I have peace. He's not lost, Jan. So I know that he's in heaven and I know his address. So I know exactly where he is. But we celebrated his birthday, his 18th. He would have been 18 years old yesterday.
Right.
And he was already a giant at 12. This is him at 12, y'all. He was an 18-year-old, right? Not no 12-year-old. He was 12 when he passed away. But look at Gabe. This is our Gaby baby. And literally every picture we have, a lot of them, when he was 5, 6, 7, 8, whatever, he was always raising his hands to.
Right.
He always raised his hands and praised God. Always. I mean, I have hundreds of pictures of my child giving God all glory, honor, and praise. And it's amazing because I won't even go into every detail. But that's one of our pictures, but that we just recently took at the Grand Canyon. And I don't take the picture unless I can some kind of way get my son infused in it. So thank you, Elder Selwyn Davis, for putting that picture in there on behalf of Gabe. And this here is something I don't believe. I'm not some mystical person that believe in the stars and all of this stuff. But 1 year after my son passed away, exactly 1 year after he passed away, my husband and our sons were playing a game of basketball, and he had passed away, collapsed and everything. And nobody played basketball on that hoop in our yard anymore for an entire year. But on this day, on the same day that he passed, they played a game of basketball in honor of him. And they looked up in the sky and they saw an upside down rainbow, smiley rainbow. So you cannot make me believe that this is not a sign that Gabe is smiling from heaven. And I am so honored to be able to just say that about my son today in honor of his 18th birthday. That was yesterday. So Jan, I can't wait for you to be a new mommy again. More children on the way in the future. I know it hasn't happened yet, right? But Jordan is going to make that happen. I can tell you, Jordan is definitely going to make that happen, you know? Thank you for being my guest today.
Thank you for having me.
Everybody that was tuned in today, if you learned one thing, just one thing, just type one thing. Type the word one thing. Type the word one thing. One thing. If you learned just one thing today from Janza Moore, type one thing and make sure you follow Janza. Let me put that again, where you can go ahead and make sure that you connect with her. Where's that content? My eyes all blurred. Sorry, let me find my vision's blurred, Janza. You're like, Lord, you should have said that at the beginning of the show. I can't even hardly see now. Let's see. Okay. Yeah. If you want to, I encourage you, if you do not have a copy of Janza Moore's book, Women Creating Impact, I'm hoping that you guys will all flood flood the market and get that book because it's going to bless you. Jansa Moore, Women Creating Impact. All you have to do is inbox message her right on Facebook, and she will get you a copy of that book. It's for a fee, y'all. It's a very small fee. Don't worry. Don't break the bank. But you want to get that copy of that book and read her story in its entirety. Tragedy to treasure. And that's what this woman is. She embodies that. Okay, people said, wow, awesome show. Love you. I think Jordan, I don't know. Jordan definitely a newlywed. He can't focus. Courtney said, Gabriel Michael. My daughter's godmother said, enjoy the show and your guest salute. Happy birthday, Gabe. Rest in heaven. Love you, Dr. Clara Walton. Jordan Moore, he giving you high fives. Okay, Jordan. Strength, he says, strength. Okay, Jordan says, Mrs. Jacobs, you are the true definition of strength. Yes, thank you, Jordan. All right, y'all. I can't take the show any longer than it already has been. I've had a ball, and I hate to end it. You know how you hate to end something, Jansa?
Yes.
I hate to get off the screen with you because
I know it's been wonderful. And thank you for having me on the show.
Thank you for being my guest today. It was just incredible. Listen, guys, go and tune in to go be a part of the Quest Church prayer line. I get to get on a few minutes earlier today. Mackenzie backstage, since you're tracking me. I'll be on the prayer line in about 2 minutes. 978-990-5000. Access code is 322-083#, and it's Monday through Friday from 12 to 12:30 p.m. Pastor Jacobs actually goes and recaps. He recaps what he spoke about on Sunday, and then he'll pray throughout the week for COVID and everything that's happening across the land. So make sure you tune in and be a part of that prayer line. It will bless you. All right, guys. God bless you all and heaven smile on you. Jansa, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for being my guest. And everybody, I'm going to just show a couple of things that my husband gave yesterday in honor of Gabe's birthday. And then I'm going to go ahead and close out today's episode. Thank you, Jansa.
Bye. Thank you.
He gave a hologram of his football picture, a hologram of our kids, like an art plaque, and a nice picture of Gabe. All right, guys, I have to disconnect. God bless you and have a great day. I'll see you tomorrow at 11 o'clock a.m. Eastern Standard Time right here on The Kim Jacobs Show. Bye-bye.